Hi ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tony Holowitz and I want to thank you for being here for my PowerPoint Part 1 training. We are going to do this PowerPoint training in a variety of tutorials. This is sort of Part 1, sort of an introduction to PowerPoint. And to start with, I want to simply open up PowerPoint and show you what it looks like. I'm going to come down here on the bottom left hand side of my screen. I have an icon that says Microsoft Office PowerPoint 2003 and I'm going to double click on that. And what we have here is PowerPoint. There you go. You can start working. Very easy. Well, I sort of say that in jest, and the reason I want to illustrate this to you is because to me, PowerPoint as an instructor is probably one of the hardest classes that I teach. And the reason for that is, to me, what you need to know when it comes to PowerPoint is you need to know a little about a lot. You need to be good at a variety of different things to be effective with Microsoft PowerPoint. And then having stated that, you almost have to forget about some things and rethink some things to be really good at PowerPoint. And when I say be good at PowerPoint, I can do a presentation very quickly, and you're going to see that shortly, very quickly on something very simple, and I can make a presentation that's acceptable and get by. But if you want to make a really compelling presentation, there's a few things you need. Probably the most important thing for you to need is time. If you have the time, you can do a variety of great things with Microsoft PowerPoint. A lot of the presentations that I've done in the past in helping people, one of the first questions I ask them is, are you on a deadline? And if so, how much time do we have? If you're not on a deadline, how much time do you want to devote to getting this done? In other words, I could get a presentation done in an hour, make it effective, or I could take 10 hours and put a lot of bells and whistles in. So PowerPoint comes down to knowing a little bit about a lot and also having the time to put into it. When I talk about knowing a little bit about a lot, one of the things I want to talk to you about is I've always felt that Microsoft PowerPoint is one of those things that I wish they didn't create it as its own piece of software. In other words, I wish it wasn't called PowerPoint. I've always sort of wished it was an extension of Microsoft Word, because a lot of the things you do here are related to Microsoft Word. So a lot of word skills that you might have picked up will carry over into PowerPoint. If you're not good at Word, I do advise take a look at some of the Word training that we have, and I'll mention those things like tables, text boxes, working with artwork. If you can learn those things in Word, they'll easily transfer to the things you'll do here in PowerPoint. So the greater your skill in Microsoft Word, the easier you're going to find Microsoft PowerPoint to manage. And because of that, I've always sort of felt like I don't want it to be its own software. I want it to be an extension of Microsoft Word, because in my mind it really is. The more skills you have in Word, the easier this is, and it's a tool that can be used similar to Word. So the better you are at Word, the easier you'll have it. Also, what's incorporated into PowerPoint is not only do you have to learn how to do the software, but if you're actually the person giving the presentation, you have to have certain presenting skills. You have to be able to get up in front of an audience, know how to present to an audience, know timing, things of that nature. You're also going to be talking in bullet points. So in other words, we're going to have little things flash up on the screen that you're going to have to expound on. So it's a way of talking, getting used to working with PowerPoint. So that's another skill. Size dimensions. Well, when you work with PowerPoint, we're working with a slide, and you'll see that slide is not the same size as an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. Most of us are used to Word and printing something out on a piece of paper, but here we're restricted in the amount of size we have to work with. The slide is definitely smaller than working with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Also, when we're in an audience, there might be people in the front row, there might be people in the back row. Will the people in the front row be able to see what the, or I should reverse that and say, will the people in the back row be able to see what the people in the front row are seeing? Is your text big enough? Are your graphics big enough? Are the images big enough? Especially if you're in a big auditorium. You might also have to learn how to use a projector. So again, a lot of little skills here that you need to get good at. I had mentioned when working with a presentation, a lot of times you want to work one point at a time or in bullet points. So a lot of times you've got to take what you want to say and condense it into bullet points so you can get your point across on the slide yet then be able to have the ability to expound on that information so that people get the full point that you're trying to make. With the advent of the internet being everywhere, there are also some features that we can use. So a lot of times what I'll try to get people to think about is, don't try to put everything on a slide. Use some other tools that are available to you to make the PowerPoint presentation as compelling as possible. For example, you can use sounds, you can use pictures, you can use moving pictures, you can use video, things of that nature. So we'll address all of this stuff as we go through the training. I'll try to give you the pros and cons in each and try to give you a sense of how we're going to work with PowerPoint. Before we get started, I want to backtrack for a moment. I opened up PowerPoint just so you can see it, but I want to illustrate, in my opinion, how I would start using Microsoft Word. Well, over here on the right hand side we have a task list. And if you want to create a new presentation, you can come right down here on the bottom and click on this. When this comes up, you are going to have some options. And what I want to suggest to you is, again, because giving a presentation is a skill that not all of us possess, you want to have as many tools available to you, and PowerPoint gives you those tools. So there's an option right here that's called From Auto Content Wizard. So when I teach people PowerPoint, the first thing I tell them is, if you have time on your hands, let's have some fun with it. Let's do something really simple with Microsoft PowerPoint. Let's create a presentation that's fun, that flows. And I'll give you a couple of examples that I've used. One is, let's say we want to do a presentation on how to build a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. How do you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? That could be a presentation, because we've got to give directions, we've got to have maybe some images, we've got to bring in some tools, the jelly, the peanut butter, maybe a knife to spread that. So we can create a presentation how to do that. It's very simple. I once had a student that I asked her, what are you good at? What do you want to teach someone? What do you want to show them how to do? What do you want to present? And they said, you know what? My son's bedroom is a mess. I want to create a presentation on how to pick up the room, how to make it look presentable. So that was a fun thing, a presentation. So when you first start with Microsoft PowerPoint, what I advise you to do, what I urge you to do, is have some fun with it. So as we step away from sort of this introduction to PowerPoint, just what I wanted to talk about at the beginning, we're going to start in our next tutorial by using the Auto Content Wizard. And that will be a great way for a beginner to PowerPoint to get into it, to have some fun, and to learn and get into the process. And first you need to learn the process, how the software works, before you can really sit down and do a presentation. Cover the basics, the rest will come easy. My name is Tony Holowitz. Thank you so very much. Have a great day.